Hey guys, I hope you're having a great night. It is technically still Wednesday night, right? Yeah. So I just want to, normally I start these videos by, sorry it's so late, but someone pointed out the other day that I should stop apologizing for that because I'm clearly a night owl and I do these late, so not apologizing for it, but I hope you guys are having a great night. If you don't have time to check in with the video today, that's okay, don't worry about it. It's gonna still be here tomorrow and the next few days. I am super excited to have you guys here. I'm excited to be here and I hope you are too. Let me know in the comments, are you excited? And let's get started. So essentially what this group is designed to do is designed to help you understand what it is that I do and how you can do it too. How it's changed my life, what my life was before, and essentially the transformations that I've gone through. And that's what I'm gonna discuss a lot about today. Today's essentially just gonna be a little bit of backstory on me, and I'm going to be telling you two stories. I'll be telling you a little bit about my fitness background story, and then I'll be telling you about my coaching background story, or my coaching origin story, as I like to call it. And starting off with my fitness background story, and you might not believe this, but I'm telling you it's the truth. I was one of those kids, like I was never, ever into health and fitness. I was one of those kids that used to lie and said I had a stomach ache so I wouldn't have to do gym class. I even hated recess. I think the boys in my school were really mean and they really liked to throw things at the girls in their face. And I had glasses. I did not like getting hit in the face with anything when I was a kid, and I still don't because it hurts when you get hit in the face with glasses. I don't know if you know that. But anyway, so I was never really into fitness when I was a kid, and even though I took swimming and there was a little bit of gymnastics and ballet and maybe some dance, nothing really stuck. I think swimming was probably the thing that stuck the most. I think I went up to like level 9 or something, but I was never really serious about it other than in the classes. I never came home and was like serious about the swimming, and on top of that, I definitely did not have a good relationship with food. Growing up, let's put it this way, I have a French Canadian mom and a Greek dad. So what that means is, for the Greek side, you eat all the time and you're not eating terribly healthy all the time. And there's a lot of dessert. And on the French Canadian side, I don't know if you know this, but the French Canadian, at least they do this back home. They don't do it, my mom doesn't do it here, but they do this where my mom's from. Essentially what they do is they have dinner and then immediately have dessert. So you can only imagine the relationship with food that I had growing up, with a French Canadian family that ate dessert right after dinner, and a Greek family that essentially ate all the time. And if you weren't eating, you weren't happy. You know, you've seen my big fat Greek wedding. You know how it is. The Greeks, we love to eat, and if you're not eating, we're not happy. But anyway, so I didn't have the best relationship with food growing up, and as I continued to grow up, and I grew up and I started having emotions and I was a teenager and this and that and the other, I had an even worse relationship with food because food became something to either distract me or to fulfill me, or like if I was bored, I would eat. If I was unhappy, I would eat. If there was food, I would eat. Like I would literally, like food was I love food, and I loved it even more back then. And even though I probably love food as much, I have a better relationship with food and I love different types of food just because I've learned that there's a lot of type of food that just doesn't serve me and that actually pollutes my mind as well as my body. And so obviously I did not have a very healthy relationship with food, and I was okay with it for like a while because I was like, whatever, like I had a bad relationship with food, yes, but I was okay with it. Like I was like, whatever, this is how life is. I was that person. And then it kind of got to a point where I let it get out of hand. It was my second year in college. I was super busy with school. I was seeing this guy. I was working, and then I got dumped. So obviously I'm gonna eat my face off because school is like super busy, and I was going through something emotional, so I just kept eating. And obviously in school, in college, you don't eat very well, like freshman 15 every single year. But so anyways, by my second year in college, I had come up to about 165 pounds, and for someone who's like 5'5", and pretty small, I figured that's a lot. So, but for a time, I was okay with carrying it. I was like, whatever, it's there. And it wasn't until a friend of mine pointed out, like, I noticed you're gaining a little bit of weight, and like, I love you. Because that's what girls do, but I love you. She's like, but obviously you're slipping, and I want to help you get out of it. She was like, I have this crazy fitness program. It's called Insanity. It's obviously going to be insane. Do you want to do it with me? And I was like, sure, why not? I have nothing to lose. Like, I was at the point where I knew I was slipping. I knew I was going backwards, and I needed something to help me go forwards. And if you watched my video on my personal page earlier, it was about how sometimes it's okay to go backwards because most of the time we're going forwards, and that was the situation where I was going backwards. I was slipping, my nutrition was getting worse and worse, and I was getting heavier, and I was getting more unhappy with myself, and I was just in not a very good place with myself either. I had very low self-esteem, and I had very low opinion of myself, and I just didn't think that, I didn't believe that the love that I deserved was out there. I didn't believe I deserved any type of love other than, you know, being cheated on or dicked around with. Like, I did not have very good thoughts about myself, and as a result, that translated into the rest of my life. I wasn't working out, I wasn't eating properly, and I wasn't resting properly. And if you don't sleep, if you don't have quality sleep, obviously you're not going to be able to lose weight properly because your brain and your hormones are going to be going crazy. But that being said, I was totally fortunate that this friend of mine, she came and she approached me and she was like, we need to do this. And I was like, cool. So we started doing it together, which was probably the only reason I did it, because she asked me to do it. She was a friend of mine. She was someone I trusted. And she was like, I'm doing this with you. Let's do it. And so I was like, cool. So we kept each other accountable because we were doing it together. She would either come to my house or I would go to her house, and we would just get it done. If we couldn't do it together, we would literally call each other and be like, okay, are you doing this crazy workout? Okay, I'm doing this workout. And that's how we would do it. And we may not have, I don't think we followed the program specifically. Like, there's an 8-week calendar for the Insanity program, and even though we did not follow it specifically, we still did the workouts almost every single day. So we were still doing them consistently 5-6 times a week, and so we saw the results that we wanted because we were working our freaking asses off. It was hard a lot of the times, and we screamed at the screen a lot, and we would cry, and like blood, sweat, and tears, let me tell you. But it was worth it because we saw the results that we wanted, and the only reason we did it was because we had each other. Like, we had the support of someone else, and obviously also because we had a tool. All we had to do was push play. That was another easy part about it. We didn't have to go anywhere. We didn't have to go to a studio. Even though obviously having to go to a class helps you stay more accountable, but we were like, we're busy, we don't have time to go out, we don't want to go out. We were in that stage of our lives where we just wanted to stay in and do our own thing, and so this was really easy for us. And at the same time, another friend of mine introduced the two of us into pole dancing, so automatically I fell right in love with it. If you know me, you know I'm a pole dancer. I fell right in love with pole dancing, and so I was like, okay, I love pole dancing, and obviously this crazy Insanity program works because all these people on the screen are ripped and have six-pack abs and they can do push-ups for days. I was like, so obviously I need to do this program to be able to pole dance, and that's how Kelly was born. I basically decided, like, something needed to break. I needed a change. I needed to move forward. I could no longer go backwards. And even though I had no idea at first how it was going to work, I just kind of, every day I tried, and every day was a little bit easier, and eventually it became the new norm. Like it was before, originally, when I had bad thoughts about myself, as my thoughts, or as my consistency with my workout improved, and as I started doing more and more, and I started seeing more results, I became more confident in myself because I was actually doing the work and I was seeing results. So that's kind of how I came into health and fitness. I really wasn't into it at first, and then I started gaining a lot of weight. Things got out of control. I had a very negative mindset, and I decided it was time for a change. But luckily, like, the universe decided it was time for a change for me at the same time, because even though I knew in my mind, okay, something has to change, I wasn't doing anything about it. And so the universe gave me someone and provided me with my friend who was like, okay, we're doing this together. And so to me, I look at that as like a sign. It was like fate for me to do this program and to move forward in my life at that time, because otherwise, like, I wasn't gonna go anywhere. There was nothing. And so that's how I found fitness. And so I was doing this Insanity program and pole fitness kind of cohesively for, I don't know, maybe a year or two. My timelines and my brains are a little screwed up. I think it was about 2 years, because that was my second year of college where I started, and I busted my knee right after college. So 2 years later, I busted my knee. So I must have been doing Insanity for about a year and a half, because I know in my last semester of college, I wasn't doing anything consistently other than yoga. In my last semester, yeah, I was just way too busy. And so I kind of fell off the wagon, should I say. And even though I had seen a lot of progress with this fitness program, because I fell off the wagon with it and all I was doing was a little bit of pole and a little bit of yoga, obviously I plateaued. And so I was like, okay, not in a great place again. But, you know, it wasn't too bad. But then obviously, like I just mentioned, the meniscus tore my right kneecap. So I needed to take a little break from my fitness journey altogether. And that's actually going to lead into my second story. And my second story is my coach origin story. So right after I hurt my knee was essentially right after I finished college. and I tore the meniscus in my right kneecap. I essentially needed to take like 8 months off of fitness, which was really disappointing for me, and it's really heartbreaking for a pole dancer because you lose a lot of strength and you lose a lot of ability. But anyway, so like I said, I tore the meniscus in my right kneecap. I needed to take at least 8 months off of fitness, and I had to stop working as a waitress because obviously you cannot walk around with a busted knee. So I had to essentially get the big girl job that I was trying to avoid getting, because as I went through college, I was in college for industrial design, and though I really enjoyed it, oops, my phone is giving me notifications. Though I really enjoyed my program of industrial design, I really didn't want to go into corporate life. Like I was like, I need to figure out a way that I can do this from home, or that I can be free and that I can have freedom. Like I don't want to go into work right away. I've just been locked in a school for 5 years. Like I don't want to be locked in an office now. And so I started waitressing, and obviously because I injured my knee, I had to leave and get my big girl job. And though I was not thrilled about having to get my big girl job, because like I said, I didn't want to be stuck in an office, I knew it was the time for me to do it. And though I really I tried to fight it, it was actually a very good thing for me. It really helped me progress my skills in my career, and it helped me to realize it helped me to earn or to get more skills without actually having to go back to school. So like part of when I got out of college, I considered, instead of going to work full time, I was like, maybe I'll go back to school and I'll take something more hands-on. I wanted to take like a furniture building class or something, or like glass blowing. So like maybe instead of going to work full time, I'll just work as a waitress and take more education. But life had a different situation for me, and I ended up going to work, which was okay because I still learned a lot, and I learned a lot in the field that I wanted to learn. I learned a lot in and about furniture making. And that's what I really want to do. I want to do in the long run. So I was like, okay, cool, I can handle this. And so for a long time, I was actually really, really satisfied doing my corporate job, because I was learning something that was valuable to me, because I knew I wanted to build furniture by hand myself. And I was doing something at that office job that directly supported that skill. And I was working in a pretty cool environment at the time. Like people were friendly because everything was new, and I didn't really know anyone at the time that very well, so it was still, things are new, everything's exciting, so it was a good time. I was being challenged by my work, and I was actually very lucky in that, like 2 months after I had knee surgery, I actually got hired as a pole dance instructor. So I was very fortunate to have that counterbalance. So even though I was unhappy being stuck in a really routine corporate job, or actually for a time I was happy with it, because I needed that structure in my life to kind of help me kind of come into myself and figure out and kind of get things in order too. It's very hard to live on a scattered schedule. So for a time, yeah, that job served its purpose. It helped me get kind of things organized. It helped me wrap my head around a routine, and it helped me learn a lot of skills, meet new people, experience a lot of things, and grow as a person myself. But eventually, it kind of, like the dazzle and the stars, like everything kind of faded away, because I no longer was learning anything new. At the company, what had happened was I got stuck on one account and one client, so I was doing the exact same work every single day. So I stopped learning things. It was no longer challenging. It was no longer fun. The only interaction that's my clock, by the way, you can ignore it. The only interaction that we really had between people was people like yelling at each other, or people giving each other shit for not having done something right, because people were building things in the back for us. So and I was designing things on the computer. So if we didn't do something properly, we would basically get yelled at. So it wasn't a very inviting environment, and it wasn't something that I could settle for anymore. It was about 3 years in when I decided I can't settle for this anymore. I need something else. I want to work from home. I know I can help others with their health and fitness, because at that point it had already been 3 years into teaching pole, and I was like, okay, I need to do something else. I need something else, because I was just I was in such a rut where I would wake up in the morning and I would cry my ass to work. I would cry sitting in bed with Corey and be like, what is your problem? Why are you crying? What is wrong with you? Why are you so much emotional? And I don't think he understood, he did understand, because he was in a job like that, and he quit and he left and started his business. And I think he's part of the reason that I was inspired to start my business, was because I wanted to have the flexibility that he had. Because like last summer, before I was able to leave my corporate job with this business, he would be like, let's go on trips, but I would have a limited amount of vacation days, and that was something I didn't want to have. I wanted to be able to have the freedom and flexibility to choose when I spent my time, how I spent my time, who I spent it with, and what I was doing with my time. And so I just kept kind of thinking to myself, and pondering on the idea, how can I find it? How can I find it? And again, I think it was fate when the opportunity fell into my lap. I was sitting on lunch at work on Instagram, scrolling the life away because I was like, I am just unhappy doing what I'm doing right now. I'm just going to be hiding from my office. I would literally leave the office the minute lunch happened, and I would come back late. But do you know what I mean? So it was one of those times where I was done settling. I was at a point where, even though, and this happened twice, same with my fitness and with coaching, even though for a time I was okay settling for less, I was okay settling for the body I was not happy with, like back then, like I was unhappy with who I was. And then again, a few years later, I was unhappy with my career, but I was kind of like, eh. But for both of those, there was a point where I hit a wall and I was like, I can't do this anymore. There needs to be a change. And so even though I had no idea how the change was going to come to fruition, I decided to make the change. I still decided the change had to come. And I decided I would just figure it out along the way. And so that's kind of it. That's kind of my origin story, was that I was just entirely fed up with what I was doing with my career, with the fact that I was being unchallenged, with the fact that my supervisor didn't like me and I had no say with anything, with my schedule, with just the fact that I did not enjoy all of the people that I worked with. There was a handful of people that I loved, and there was a lot more people that I didn't. So at the end of the day, it had gotten to the point where I needed something else. And I was super, super fortunate to have found the opportunity. I remember, like I said, I was sitting on lunch and I was scrolling through Instagram, and it took me literally like 10 seconds to send or to respond to to the Instagram promotion for of the Help Wanted coach. Like, it said something like, Help Wanted, looking for people to work from home, full-time or part-time, helping others, you can earn 6 figures. And I was like, huh, okay, cool, sign me up. Literally is what I thought. And I actually scrolled past it and then scrolled back, read it again, scrolled past it, scrolled back, and I thought to myself, is this real? Like, this seems too good to be true. And I actually had to like smack myself a few times. And then I went back and I was like, hey, well, if it's not real, I'll figure it out along the way. So I clicked, I wrote my email in, and she emailed me back like, I think it was a couple hours later. And I think it took me about 10 days to enroll. It took like 100 emails and 100 questions. I asked this girl so many questions, and she was so patient with me. But I'm one of those people, I needed to know all the facts. And I was not, also when I was introduced to coaching, I was like, I was so skeptical, and I didn't think it was something for me, because I've been introduced to network marketing opportunities before where you are sharing something with someone and you're hoping to help them in their lifestyle with it. And I was never connected to the product that people would try and have me share with them. And this was something for me that made sense, because it was from a company that actually helped change my life in the first place. It was the company that created that Insanity program that helped change my life. And I was like, okay, this is obviously real, because I know it's real because I've done it myself and I know it's going to work. And pardon me, there's something trying to kill me from the inside out. But anyways, when this opportunity fell into my lap, even though it's what I wanted, I did not feel prepared for it at all. When I asked her 100 million questions, and the last thing I said to her was, I still feel entirely unprepared for this, even though I've asked you like 100 questions, but whatever, leap of faith, here I come. That's literally what I said, because I was at a point in my life where I was like, fuck getting up and going to work to this fucking job I hate anymore. Like I was done. I was so done. And I was at a point where I wanted to be able to achieve the dream, quote unquote. Like, I had this giant bucket list of places I wanted to be able to visit and things I wanted to be able to do. And then I would look into my bank account and be like, you know, like crickets. And so for me, like, I wanted to be able to have the financial security and the financial freedom as well, to be able to do crazy things, adventure, go to Fiji with my sisters for shits and giggles, like whatever it is. But I wanted to be able to have, like I said, the independence, the financial security, the financial independence. And that's something I couldn't get with my career job, again, because I wasn't in control of my income. And so when I found this opportunity, and it was like, you are in control of literally everything. It is your own business. You build your income based on the number of lives that you help. And it's you know what I mean? Like, and you can work with whomever you work. You can work with whomever you want to work with. That was probably the best part for me. But anyways, I'm getting a little bit off track. I'm going to be talking about that more tomorrow. But so that's what prompted me to kind of make these changes. Both of my changes was I was at a point where I could not handle my situation anymore. Something had to give. And like I said, I didn't know how it was going to happen. I didn't know I didn't exactly know what the path was going to look like, but I decided that I was going to try anyway. And the great thing about it is there was someone there to help me all the time. And that's what my goal and my role is for you, is to be there for you as we do this, as we move forward, to share with you the things that worked for me and the things that did not work for me, so that it's easier for you in the long run. Essentially, let me just check with my notes. I did refer to my notes now to make sure that I'm discussing everything I need to discuss. Okay, so briefly, we've discussed the before. We've discussed what my life looked like before. Now I want to talk a little bit about it after. And before I go on, like I mentioned, I'm going to be talking a little bit about both of my stories at the same time now. Before I even found fitness and before I was a coach, I had a very low opinion of myself. I had a low self-esteem. I did not, I'm going to get into the TMI, too much information page. I wanted to be able to love myself, I wanted to be able to look in the mirror naked and love myself, or to have sex with the lights on. I was at the point in my stage of my life where I was fed up with me and who I was, and I was ready to shed that person and move forward. And when I found the fitness opportunity, that was Insanity, and when I found the coaching opportunity that this company provides, my life was forever changed. I went from hating myself to loving myself. I went from having zero discipline to having a lot more discipline. And even though sometimes I still struggle, I have a lot more. I went from having a very poor relationship with food to finally understanding what a healthy nutrition looks like, and to understanding that having the results that you want isn't about doing the work for a little bit and then seeing the results and going back to your old habits. It's about changing your habits long term. And that's essentially what we do, is my goal and my role as a coach also, is to help people change and succeed long term through long term habits. And different changes in my life, like, I used to get up in the morning and cry my ass off before I go to work, and now, I don't know if you guys see all my posts, but now my office is outside, or my bedroom, or my kitchen. Like, I get to have that freedom, and I get to do it while helping others and helping people that I enjoy and people that I love. I get to choose who I work with, when before, or at the office, like, you don't have a choice of who you work with. Obviously, you get to choose where you want to work, but sometimes you don't get hired at that place, right? And then you get hired at that second place where you don't really love the people. At this job, where I'm working at my company with my business, I have the ability to work with whomever I want to work with, and that's why you guys are here, because you guys are all awesome and I want to work with you. I don't have to work with assholes, and neither do you. That's the great part about it. And you can earn a huge income off it. You just have to put in the hard work and be ready to dedicate yourself and to sacrifice a little bit of yourself to become your new self, because, kind of newsflash, who you are now, and I can say this knowing that, because who I was when I signed up is not who I am now. Who you are now is not who you need to be a successful coach. Obviously, there's a lot of work to be done, and I know that, and I'm here to help you do that. There's obviously been a whole ton of more other improvements and changes in my life. I have better relationships with the people that are in my life, with my family, with my partner. I have a better relationship with myself, like I keep mentioning, and I have a better just ability to express myself, to understand my own emotions and to understand other people's emotions. And I'm just like, I'm more assertive, I'm unafraid, and even if I am afraid, okay, that's a lie, I'm not unafraid. I still feel fear, but I don't let it control me anymore. So just the way that my mindset has grown and improved is nothing compared, or it's crazy compared to what you think. Like, people are like, whatever, becoming a coach, you're just signing people up, this, that, the other. No, it's life-changing for them and for us. Our entire lives change, and sometimes it happens in the blink of an eye, sometimes it takes a little while. It all depends on the person, right? And that's okay, because this business is as unique to each person and each coach. I don't know what that is. Thanks for the love, guys. But anyways, so I feel like I've been rambling on for a little bit, because obviously I didn't write too many notes. Like, I had like 5 bullets of the 5 topics I want to talk, and then I just like rambled. So I feel like I went on a bit long, but I also feel like I gave you guys a lot of good information just about like the picture then and the picture now. I'm still not perfect, but I was not in a perfect place when I started my fitness journey, and I was nowhere in a perfect place when I started my coaching journey. I was just at a place where I knew things had to change. I did not feel prepared, even though I kind of knew that I could help people in their health and fitness, because all of my students were like, oh, give me advice on this and that. I was still very skeptical about it, and I was still very scared to feel pushy and like a salesperson, and I was still very just concerned that I could do it at all. I didn't think that I was worthy of it. I didn't think that I could. I was like, who am I? How am I going to do this? You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like anyone can achieve greatness so long as you believe that you can achieve it. If you believe you can or can't, no matter what, you're right. I think that's where I want to end it. I want you to ask yourself, like, are you at a place in your life where you're ready to move forward? Have you hit a wall? Are you completely unhappy with where you are? Like, why are you in this group? Are you in this group just to learn more, and that's totally cool if you are? Are you in this group because you're seriously interested in escaping your day job? Or are you in this group because you're just looking for an additional income, or because you really like helping others, or whatever the reason? Let me know in the comments. Let me know why you are here. And if you were to become a coach, just thinking about my life, thinking about the things that I've told you, the changes that I've made so far, if you were a coach, where would you see yourself in 5 years? Right? Where would you see yourself in 5 years? Personally, for myself, I see myself being financially free, financially secure, having the flexibility to do the things that I love, and the choice to do them when I want, and also the ability to contribute to the people and to the things that I love. So like, I want to be able to retire my mom and dad. I want to be able to retire my partner from having to work the work he doesn't love. Like, he's a contractor. He wants to flip his own houses. He doesn't want to have to do the custom renos anymore. And so I want to be able to help him do that. I want to be able to support my sisters. My sister's pregnant. She's about to have a baby. Like, I want to be able to support my sister and her future baby. I want to be able to support my future family, my future kids, my future husband, I'm not married, my future husband, my future dream home. Like, I want to be able to have these things. And that's my 5-year goal. So what is your 5-year goal? Because my 5-year goal is to help anyone who's willing to come with me. And that's my offer to you. But anyway, so that's all I really want to say tonight. A little bit about me, kind of the changes that I have gone through in my brain. I feel like this was totally longer than I wanted it to be, but you guys are still on, so I love you for it. I hope you have a great night. I'm going to be going on tomorrow, or hopping on again tomorrow, probably about midday, maybe a little bit later, but we're going to be talking about what we do as coaches, what our role is, our purpose, what we do every day, what our services are, things like that. Anyways, let me know in the comments if you have any questions specifically you want me to answer, or personal message me with them. Okay? I love you guys. Have a nice night.